Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. This proves that America is Babylon. So they captured Maduro according to them. So I'm gonna play this video, and it's gonna be a lot of things gonna happen behind this. You know what I'm saying? Because um, I get into the information. I'm gonna play this video, then I'm gonna bring out some scriptures and get into this other article.
Good evening. Great to be with you tonight. 2 days earlier than expected with that major breaking news that could shape the year, maybe even the century. After months of buildup, at 2:01 a.m. local time today in Caracas, Venezuela, U.S. Delta forces slipped into the home of dictator Nicolas Maduro. By 3:30 a.m., he and his wife were in American custody. They landed at an airport north of New York City just a few hours ago and will face drug and gun charges in a New York courtroom. We're going to have a live report from there in
And that's just the narrative, right?
First, more on the...
That's the narrative that they're selling, like they the good guys and everybody else is the bad guys, right? That's how they're able to use that media to put the witchcraft on the people's minds to control the narrative. Let's keep going.
A mission that President Trump today compared to nothing seen since World War II. Charlie D'Agata is in West Palm Beach for us, following all of it. Charlie, good evening.
Good evening to you, Tony. The Venezuelan dictator and his wife now face charges here in the United States after this stunning operation that deposed the head of state and now leaves the U.S. in charge of a country with no clear leadership or no clear plan forward. Nicolas Maduro and his wife Celia Flores touched down in New York this evening after an audacious snatch-and-grab operation in Venezuela overnight. In the early hours of Saturday morning, a swarm of U.S. military helicopters, special forces units known as the Night Stalkers, descended on Caracas, and explosions lit up the sky, signaling that Operation Absolute Resolve was underway.
It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice.
And he just reading what the tell him to say, because who's really behind this? The J people, the international bankers. They want that all, and they want, it's a world domination thing. The Edomites, starting at the J people, which would be the head tribe of the nation of Edom, they control the world, and this proves that this is Babylon. What is Babylon used for? America is used for the military arm of the Edomites' banking system, or the financial system, which if you control the so-called money, you control the world. That's just what it is. So there's going to be some stuff that happens behind this. It's not Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shais. I always, got something brewing, because this not going to go over well. You know what I'm saying? These nations are observing this nasty whore do all this wickedness, and they know who to mess with and who not to mess with. So let's go in 1 second. So to open up with Revelation 17:1, it says, "And there came one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show you unto the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters." Let's keep going. So what is this whore represents? It says, "With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication." So they have locked in alliance with this beast system, which would be starting at the financial, going with the democracy, the Hollywood influence throughout the whole world. America influences the whole world in wickedness. This is Babylon the Great. Mystery Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. It says, "And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So all these nations, pretty much are under the influence of Esau, the Babylonian system. That's why LGBT is pushed out across the whole world. These celebrations, yet some countries do limit some of this stuff, but yet everybody is enticed by this nasty whore because of the influence and power. Let's keep going. It says Revelation 17:3. "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw the woman sit upon the scarlet colored beast, It says full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So this woman is a representation of America, Babylon the Great. Let's go to 5. It says, Revelation 17 and 5. It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great. And that great is put in there for a reason, because this is, the Lord made this empire great off our backs. You know, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. So if John, it said this was talking about ancient Babylon, John already knew about ancient Babylon. This would be a future Babylon. That's why the terminology is used mystery. What's a mystery? Something that's unknown. So this would be a future kingdom that would be set up in the future. Let's keep going. So it ain't talking about ancient Babylon. Let's go to Revelation 17 and 18, Salakia. I think that's where I need to be at. So Revelation 17 and 18. It said, and it's going to break it down. So that's why you Christians, or these people that's outside the truth, you'll say some crazy stuff like that, talking about Satan riding on a dragon, you know, bugged out. It says Revelation 17 and 18. It says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city. So this woman, this harlot, which is a whore, that got all the world enticed with the dollar and democracy and feminism and LGBT. You keep going. That woman is representation of America, Babylon the Great. How do we know this? Which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So the J people use America as the military arm. So the Edomites rule out of Babylon. But yet they do they dealings, you know, through the European banking system. But this is their headquarters, which they do the military arm of their system, and the financial. Well, the financial comes out of London, but it's funneled through the United States dollar. You understand what I'm saying? But the Rothschild family, and you know, so on and so forth, the Warburgs, you know, go down that list. They control the American dollar. If you understand what I'm saying, that's coming from London. London is the financial arm. Washington D.C. is the military arm. United States, and the religious arm is like the Roman Catholic Church, right? So which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Let's go to this word reigneth. Let's go to the blue letter, Salakia. Salakia. Okay, the word reigneth goes back into the means royal power. It says kingship. It says dominion. That's what I was looking for. The word dominion. So Babylon. So this future mystery Babylon the Great will be a kingdom that rules over all the other kings of the earth, which the modern day kings would be like your prime ministers and, you know, your presidents and, you know, so on and so forth. Your heads of state, them would be this, that word kings is ancient terminology, right? But it's talking about the rulers of these other countries. So again, remember dominion. So Babylon the Great has dominion over all these other nations on the earth, and who's hands down that place is America, without a shadow of a doubt. They control the economic system, right, through the J people and the military arm, right? It says dominion. It says right here, it says the territory of sovereign government. Salaki, my voice kind of in and out. It says right here, supremacy. It says dominance. Let's see if I can get some more words. Hegemony. Authority. Well, you get it. Control. Power. And it goes back into the precept of Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand. Another word for hand would be control of the wicked. Who is the wicked? Esau Edom, the so-called white man that's labeled himself as the J people. He's labeled himself as European, as white people, so on and so forth. Let's go here. Genesis 27 and 40. It says, explains the future of Esau's descendants, the Edomites, that's who in power right now. Prophesying they would live by the sword. So I'm going to show you this fun fact. So since America been established, remember all wars are banker wars. Something you got to understand too. It says the United States, or Babylon, right, has been involved in conflict for vast majority of its existence, with some sources stating the United States or Babylon has been at war or involved in military action over 90% of the time since 1776. It says equating to roughly being at war 225 years out of 245. So tell me that this ain't talking about Babylon, that military might. It says right here, Genesis 27 and 40 explains the future of Esau's descendants, the Edomites, prophesying they will live by the sword. Warfare. And they will use this warfare to dominate all the nations in the world, pretty much, right? And make them accept a financial system. It says warfare struggle and serve Jacob's line, Israel, but will eventually rebel and break free from subjugation. So it's been times when we had these devils subjugated, and now this is the time that these devils will be in their last bit of this prophecy when they will be in rulership before Jacob, the Israelites, come into rulership. We're going to take these devils down, man. So they broke free off that yoke, right? But we're going to put these devils back in subjugation in the kingdom of heaven. And everything going to be set back in order. And these devils not going to be able to have any influence or power over the earth. It's going to be an Israelite ran earth. It's going to be our Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah world order. Right here. It says countries including Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Russia, and Iran condemn the Trump administration intervention in Venezuela. See, it's not going. This is going to be a lot of different things going to happen out of this, and it's ultimately leading up to the third war. You know what I'm saying? It's leading up to that, and all these little different moves, these skirmishes, these takeovers, all these different things is leading up to the big, the big deal. The big dance, if you would. But this proves that America is Babylon the Great. They rule it over all the kings of the earth. And this is without a shadow of a doubt. This that mystery Babylon. Now we know it's not a mystery anymore because we're able to tell you what it is today. Because when that prophecy was written, John had no clue, right? It was for us to wake up in this time to be able to extrapolate on it and break it down and tell you what that means today. Mystery Babylon, Babylon the Great, daughter of Babylon, they go by other prophetic names, is America. And the J people control America through the financial system. That's that military arm of the Edomites' power structure. And hopefully, then you got NATO, right? That's that beast, right? NATO, and then, so on and so forth. Ain't even going to go through all that breakdown, but we'll do that for another lesson. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rachat, Kodash. Shalom.